you get the shot for you, no question about that, as far as I'm concerned, but you also do it for others. That's the larger picture. You protect you and you protect those around you. But not everybody thinks like that. That's unfortunate.
And I think that's why I want to have this conversation and then welcome people with Bridges Live with Dr. Paul Dyer, talking with Dr. George Fraser, George C. Fraser. I'm not going to get into what he has done, what he will do, what he's going to do, what he's been doing. You need to do that research on your own, and shame on you if you don't know. But I do want to contact with Dr. Fraser to find out the greatness of Black America and what is next. Because we have been going through this rocky road, and last time we talked about economic slavery in the next 50 years. Well, it's coming faster than we thought with the shortage of this and the rises of that. It seems like economic slavery is already here. So what can we do that's next?
That's a deep statement. You're right. I think those who are enslaved are not in chains, they're in debt. They are financially illiterate. We are at the bottom of every single economic statistic that matters in America. We've been here since the Mayflower. And not that financial illiteracy is in particular a Black problem. It is an American problem, according to the Wall Street Journal. But we know that when white folks catch a cold, Black people catch pneumonia. And so after 400 years
of pneumonia.
That's right. They catch a cold, we catch pneumonia. After 400 years, we have still not learned the lessons that it will take to close the income and wealth gap between us and them. So until such time as that changes, until such time as we actually begin to talk about money, we begin to engage in financial education and financial literacy. What's the first thing slaves did when they became free? They began building small classrooms, then small schools. Then within 100 years, they had a whole system of historically Black colleges and universities. Education, education, education. So to close that gap, we will have to focus on financial literacy. This is one of the reasons 20 years ago, I started talking about economic development and wealth creation and closing the income and wealth gap through financial education, and built the WINS Wealth Building Centers and curriculum. Because as I tell brothers and sisters all the time who have businesses, that if you don't have a system, you don't have a business. I don't know what the hell you have, but it ain't a business.
Because making money isn't a business.
Right. No. Right. It is a passion. It is a skill. It is something one learns how to do to garner the necessary resources to invest back into you, your family, and others that are close to you so that they can compete in this world. And we have to do this. There's no way around it.
During COVID, there has been explosions of people with their own personal growth and businesses that they wanted to develop because now they were forced to, or now they have the opportunity to. Now with so much explosion, now we're fighting each other over the same dollar. That seems to also be hurting us.
Yeah. It's complicated, Doc. We continue to shoot ourselves in the foot. We continue to blame others. And historically, we understand that where we are, we're out of our natural minds, quite frankly. We actually don't really know who we are. That pretty much is not our fault, but our health and our mindset and the repairing of our mindset is our responsibility.
Yeah.
No one is going to save Black people but Black people. White people are not even thinking about Black people. You know who white people are thinking about? They're thinking about white people. They're thinking about their husbands, their wives, their children, their schools, their neighborhoods, their businesses in your pockets. They ain't thinking about you. Asians are not thinking about us unless they want to do commerce in the hood and open up a small Asian restaurant. And I tell brothers and sisters all the time, if you go into a small urban Asian restaurant and there are 4 brothers waiting on you, leave. That's not a real Asian restaurant, because Asians do not employ Black people. They employ their own people, and you can't hate on them for that, because damn it, that's what the hell we should be doing. So we have to work on that. You know, try to open up the Booker T. Washington delicatessen in Chinatown and see what happens to your ass, okay? So we have to do the work. No one is going to save us. We have to save us. Now, there are many who are doing the work. You're doing the work. I'm doing the work. We could probably sit here for this hour that I have and list hundreds, if not thousands, of brothers and sisters who are doing work. But there are 46 million Black people in this country.
Right.
And I have developed, after 40 years of serving Black people, I have developed what I call my 85-10-4-1 rule about Black people.
Oh, do tell the 85-10 rule, because
All right, so our brothers and sisters who are listening,
yeah,
I want to say this and still be loved, okay? But I'm an elder. I'm 77. I've paid the price. I'm a race man. I've invested my time, talent, and treasure into the upliftment of Black people first. And so I want to say this based on over 2,000 talks around the globe to our people, 10 million frequent flyer miles, a whole host of accomplishments of which I will not talk about. Thank you all. People will find out for themselves. Yeah. And here is what my conclusion is as an elder, as nearly 77 years old. And as I said, it's called my 85-10-4-1 rule about our people. 85% of Black people are sleepwalking through life. 10% are pimping the sleepwalkers. 4% have pulled themselves out of that dark, sunken place and are ready to see the light. And 1% are the light and are ready to help the 4% get woke. That's how I see it. So let's do the math on that, Paul. There are 46 million Black people in America. 4% who are ready, willing, and able of 42 million is what? 1.8 million or so? 1%, those who are willing to do the work, guide, provide the mentorship, the coaching, the eldership, that's about 500,000. So there are 2.2 million Black people out of 46 million Black people, from my perspective, that are ready and would listen to this kind of conversation. The rest are asleep.
Which is why you answered why we're all fighting over the same dollar, because it's only 1.2 million people who are awoke enough to understand where the Black dollar is. The other 42 million are still going to the other places and spending a majority of their money, if not all.
There are 3 or 4 things that Black people have to do if we're going to build back, let's call it, greatness. We have to educate our own children. Therefore, I started 17 years ago 2 charter schools in the hood. We have to educate our own children, because 80% of the people teaching our children don't look like our children. So it's not necessarily about color, it's about culture. They do not understand our culture. They do not know how to teach Black children. Black people learn differently than white people. We are oral, visual, tactile, kinesthetic, and auditory learners. Okay? White folks are archival learners. All right? So It is a wonder that when they wouldn't allow us to go to their schools and we had to build our own schools and we had to teach, we had to have teachers that looked like us because those are the only ones that would teach us. For some strange reason, Doc, our children learned and progressed. Now they're not learning. So we have to educate our own children. That's one. Number two, we have to create businesses. We have to create work and jobs for our people because that's the only way to raise up the poor. And we are the only folks who fundamentally do not focus on building businesses. We are still caught in the old school mentality of get a good education and get a good job, a good government job. But that's not what I've taught my children, my two boys. I've taught them to get a good education and to create a job for themselves, create a job for their children. And if God gives them the power and the glory, create work and jobs for our people. So if we're going to get back to greatness, we have to create more businesses that will ultimately create more jobs. And every immigrant group that has ever come to this country has understood that, but Black people. So that's the second thing that we must do if we're going to get back to greatness. And then we have to support those businesses. We have to recycle our dollars. We've been saying this for 50 damn years. And it's like pissing in the wind, right? So we have to support our own businesses. And the best way to do that, the path to doing that is for Black businesses not only to be more in number and much more competitive, by building our capacity. We are not lacking opportunity in this country. That's BS. There's unlimited opportunity in this country. Our goal has to be about building our capacity to take advantage of the huge opportunities that are before us. So that's on us. No one's going to fix that but us. So until we understand that.
But that's the problem. We're mentally stuck. We're traumatically stuck. We are sick and stuck being sick. And we're sick of being stuck. So we keep rolling around in this circle of just being mentally sick and stuck. Because no matter how much you teach people, they still are unable to do if they're mentally sick.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be another way to say it, Doc. There is a leadership void. There is a leadership void.
You mean this president's not going to do it for us? He is not. He's not our savior. You mean?
No.
I thought that's what everybody was talking about. He's going to be, the be all, the end all.
No, there's a Black leadership void. So let me ask a rhetorical question. Where is there today, Doc, a Stokely Carmichael? Where is the Marcus Garveys of today? Where is Malcolm X's of today? Where are the Dr. Kings of the day? Who are the brothers and sisters who are fearlessly speaking and organizing and sparking the masses of our people, not only with powerful and eloquent rhetoric, but with actual construction of tools and ideas. Malcolm was with the nation.
Yeah.
The nation spun off and did its own thing, right? Anybody could join the nation, right? You just have to ascribe to their core beliefs. Look what Marcus Garvey did in less than a decade, mobilizing and organizing more than 3 million Black people without social media and fax machines, right? Where are the Marcus Garveys? And by the way, I consider Marcus Garvey one of the greatest leaders who have ever lived.
Absolutely.
No question about that. So who are those people? There's a beautiful piece that Stokely Carmichael said that actually was one of the great influences in my life. He was a balls to the wall leader, and he took no prisoners. He was admired. He admired Malcolm X. He was really all about Black people. I'm looking for something here. I want to read this to you.
Yes, please.
Now, this is what Stokely Carmichael said in the 60s. In the 60s, and I love this. And he was one of the great influences in my life, along with Malcolm, along with Garvey, along with Dr. King. But here's what Stokely Carmichael said in the 60s. And I quote, "No Black person in this country makes any advancement solely based on his or her talent or worth. All individual advancement is based on mass struggle. We make no progress in this world without shedding our blood. Therefore, your advancement and success does not belong to you. It belongs to the people. So if you do not use your success or advancement for the benefit of your people, it is a betrayal of the people who shed their blood for you." So what is the promise of FraserNet and Fraser Nation? It is to help you connect, grow, and prosper so that you can do what? Learn, earn, and return.
That's right.
We have a lot of us learning and a lot of us earning,
No return.
but not enough of us returning.
I'll give you. Here's my answer to that, and I've come up with it passionately, purposely, and it's really affected me. Now, I'm on the chair of the Red Cross, American Red Cross, and I've taken on the charge with a couple of people in the Red Cross as a board member to fight sickle cell anemia. Most people didn't know much about sickle cell anemia because most Black people didn't know it was just only an African American disease. With that being said, during the pandemic, we have lost lives because Black people don't donate if they don't have to, because they usually go to their work or their places with all these blood banks. So since the pandemic, so we're very short. So we have lost several hundreds of lives because of lack of Black blood. Now, I have pushed this out, I said, we need Black donors to save Black lives. This is easy. You donate blood as a Black human being, you save a Black person who's struggling and suffering, you save their life. You know, every time we have a blood drive, I get less than 20 men and I get a little bit more women. It's disgusting. Some blood drives we've had to cancel because not enough Black people show up to save another Black person's life. So if they can't show up to save a life by donating 45 flipping minutes, I don't want to curse on air, to give their blood to save another human being's life, what makes you think they're going to work on financial literacy? It's almost like it was almost like an explosion connection to me.
Yeah. These are difficult questions to answer. I have been preaching the gospel of financial education and financial literacy for more than 25 years, having, as I said, built the WINS Wealth Building Centers and curriculum that we installed this system. It's a system. Everything is a system. We installed this financial literacy or education system in the historically Black church and fraternities and sororities. And we say to the Black church in particular, if Wednesday is Bible study, Thursday should be financial education day. All right. Now, it's very, very difficult to get the critical mass of Black churches to talk about money. So that's one of the very bad habits that we have, that we don't talk about money. We don't talk about money at home. We don't talk about money in our church. We don't talk about money around the kitchen table. We don't talk about money in general.
And we don't talk about it as an investment. If we do mention it, it's about paying something.
Sure.
But it's not, we don't ever talk about it as an investment to or for something.
That's right. So we have a lot of work to do. And your job of getting more Black people to donate blood so they can save the lives of other Black people with sickle cell anemia is a tough job. My job of convincing Black people that education, financial education is first, and that things must change is a lifelong job. Have I seen the needle move in 25 or 30 years? It has moved incrementally, but the question I have to answer all the time, Dr. Fraser, how long will it take us to close the wealth gap? I said, well, I want to say this and still be loved. It's going to take us at least 100 years. It's going to take 3 to 5 more generations at the snail's pace that we are going, because we have to change mindset. Right? That requires a tremendous amount of clarity and simplicity. What's the key to learning? Simplicity and repetition. You have to repeat it 50 different ways on 50 different days. You have to have a millennial campaign, not a 6-week campaign or a 1-year campaign, but you have to have a campaign that repeats the message and the clarity of the message so that people can repeat the message. If they can't repeat the message, they don't know the message. And that takes tremendous amount of foot labor and mouth labor, and takes a tremendous amount and a high level of leadership. I don't know where the leaders are today. Who are the leaders? Can you name me 3 or 4 in the public sphere, Doc, that is of the stature of a king, of a Malcolm X, of a Marcus Garvey, of a Stokely Carmichael? We can go on and on and on. Who are they? We have philosophers, we've got intellectuals, we've got the Michael Eric Dysons, we have the Cornel Wests, the intellectualism of Dr. Boyce Watkins, no question about that. But leadership in terms of developing implemental tools that we can execute on, that will give us the improvements and the changes that we need to pull us out of this pathway to a second slavery, because all the statistics point to that. The Institute of Policy Studies in their 2017 report said by 2053, if nothing changes among African Americans, they will have zero wealth. Zero wealth. This is a study. I didn't make this up. I read this in the Institute of Policy. You can Google it, 2017, a 200-page report on the economic state of Black America, that we are fundamentally headed into a second slavery within the next 30 years or so. So who's going to fix that? They're going to fix that? No, it's been 400 years and we ain't fixed. And we will fix it.
And I think when we ask who can say something, we have people who have an opportunity to say things. They may be saying, but when we talk about a leader has to come out and be unapologetically, purposefully spoken, without thinking about repercussions. We have so many people who are talking, and they're talking in the silence, like in silent movies. Only certain people can understand them. And they're like, well, we're working for Black America. Well, maybe so. But we don't need you working in silence. We need you to be working in high volume, because unlike what you said, the 1% with the 4%, how do we get the sleepwalkers? They need to be woken up by loud voices like the Marcus Garvey. He was very spoken. They need to be shaken, shook.
That's right. That's right. And that's what Marcus Garvey said said and did so beautiful. And what a speaker, what a powerful speaker he was, what a inspirational and motive, but more than just speak on it, he acted on it.
That's right.
Right? He was focused on building businesses in the Black community, recycling dollars in the Black community, those who do not wanted to stay in Black America. He even bought steamships to take them back to Africa, Liberia in particular. So we need not only rhetoric and talk and powerful orators like the Dr. King, but Dr. King was not just a powerful orator. He got laws passed.
Yes.
Right. So civil rights, voting rights, public access, fair housing. So he got something done. Now, I respect Black Lives Matter. I respect their ability to spark the masses. I'm just waiting for them to do something. What are, other than talking about it and protesting about it, and certainly that has its role.
It does.
Right? It has its role. This is a huge puzzle in many pieces. But at the end of the day, action has to be taken. Laws have to be changed. Communities have to be built. People have to be educated. And there has to be programs that we institute that can support our causes, like what the simple example you used of donating blood to the Red Cross to save the life of a Black person with sickle cell anemia. I mean, that's not rocket science.
It's not. But if we can't get them to do something so simplistically as that, I am now struggling with pulling the hammer, and besides hitting people over the head, how do you get them to wake up to save our community when they can't even think about saving another life? Right. Now, that's where I like this past 6-7 months, I've been stuck on that. I'm like, now I am like, it takes my breath away to think how many people I will ask, how many people will say yes, and how few will show up. Yes. And that's with everything now. You can ask, they say yes, but they won't show up.
Asking, pontificating ad nauseum about an issue and getting the result that is necessary to change lives or a life, the gap there is as wide as the Grand Canyon. And therein lies one of the huge challenges. So leaders like you have a lot of work to do. You can't ever shut up.
No.
You have to keep saying what you're saying, right? Acting on your ideas as becoming a member of the Red Cross and taking a leadership role with the Red Cross to champion a cause specific to Black people. So, I applaud you for that. That's God's work, man. That's in fact what you're doing. You are doing God's work. I'm not sure how lucrative it is. I don't know how you even monetize anything like that. But you're doing it out of empathy. You're doing it out of a love for your people. You're doing what Stokely Carmichael talked about. And that is using your intellectual capital, your human capital, your feet on the ground, and doing what you can to make a difference. If we could multiply that times 46 million, we would probably get somewhere. We could probably close that gap in less than 100 years. So I applaud you.
With the food shortage, with supply shortage, doesn't that time decrease exponentially?
Yes, it does.
And I almost think that allowing this shortage to happen because of, you can call it a supply chain issue, you can call it a frost thing, you can call it a lot of things, but this almost helps people if you kill off the sleepwalkers. It's almost like, why would we want to stop this if we can kill a certain amount of people off? Because certain people have food. They're not worried about the ones who have, and the ones who have aren't worried about the ones who don't have. And the people,
well, there are all kinds
Yep.
of thoughts as categorized as conspiracy theories, to include one of the core reasons for the anti-vaxxers. That, right? I mean, you've heard this.
right.
And that it is really a plot, if you will, to kill off a large percentage of the population long term.
Mhm.
I don't know that I believe that. I don't want to believe that. I don't want to think that there is this diabolical cabal
Right.
with the power to develop a disease, kill 800,000 people in this country. I don't know what the number is globally at this time, and use that vaccination as a way to sicken people, millions of people, because the goal is to get at least 70% of the people around the globe taking the vaccine. I don't want to believe there is that kind of coordination, evil coordination, to rid this world of people so that there's more food for less people. I just don't, in my core values and my spiritual beliefs, I just don't want to believe that that level of coordinated evil exists so that I could remain sane, Doc, and hopeful.
Right, because if you go that dark and deep, you might just take hope out.
That's right. That's right. No question. No question about it.
So behind me, if people can't see it, if people don't know who she is, it's Henrietta Lacks.
Henrietta Lacks, yeah.
And if we talk about financial that has been missed, that's one woman that her family has been missed on financial gain on what she has done or what she has allotted the civilization to do.
That's right. But she is not alone.
No, that's go
Right.
ahead. So teach,
She
teacher.
would be emblematic
Right.
of a huge issue of wealth stolen.
Yes.
Be it land, be it inventions, right? And the like. A huge portion of our wealth has been stolen.
Yes.
There's no question about it. The case for reparations hinges on the statistics that can be espoused as it relates to that idea. I am all for reparations. Make no mistake about it. I believe that America owes us trillions of dollars. No question about that. So let me just give you one of my dark little secrets. I am praying that we don't get reparations until we become
financially
a
literate.
financially literate people.
I agree.
Because when we do, because I believe at some point in time that we will, I should say, it's going to end up right back in the hands of the people that gave it to us. So that's what's going to happen.
It's just true, because you still have 42 million people who are sleepwalking. They're the walking dead.
Right. So we'll get it. And we will just do what we know how to do. And that is consume. We are the consumption class, Black people in America. White folks are the merchant class. They make stuff and we buy stuff. That's just what we do. at this moment in time. We have some very bad habits. One is we don't talk about money, and the other is we are addicted to instant gratification versus delayed gratification. I'll say that another way. And I tell Black people this all the time. I would rather carry a plastic bag with $5,000 in it than to carry a $5,000 Louis Vuitton bag with $100 in it, right? You're not winning.
No.
Because the goal is to win, not to look like we're winning. But doing that, we're not winning. Louis Vuitton is winning, Armani is winning, Gucci is winning, Nike is winning. We're not winning. And so until we fix that mindset, because that's a mindset. Now, I understand that mindset.
Yes.
I understand the tricking and bamboozling that Malcolm X talked about, and the psychological holocaust that Black people had gone through for 350 years. We're deeply wounded people. And so I understand the reasons for some of those things. But that was then, Doc. This is now.
This is now.
Right? This is now. So we have to man up and we have to woman up. That's on us. No one's going to do that for us but us.
With all these HBCUs, and we're going to be cutting this off quicker because we can talk about this all night, and there's more to talk about at another time. With all these HBCUs, all these Black organizations that say they're for us, whether it be sororities, fraternities, and all of it, and churches, we still have not moved the needle enough. Is because they're not specifically teaching it, they're not specifically talking about it, or they're just not talking loud enough?
Well, it's a combination of everything you just said. But the big thing, the systemic issue, is that most of our public education, certainly higher public education systems, white and certainly Black, their curriculum is designed to make you a worker bee.
Yeah.
Not independent of thought and to create work and jobs and to think entrepreneurially. It is to prepare you for a job to help make someone else wealthy. That's what it's designed to do. And these companies, many of them, contribute to these institutions so that they will continue to prepare
the workers,
people, the worker, for them. So that's the mindset. It's certainly the mindset of most historically Black colleges. There are a few that are only beginning now, that is focusing on entrepreneurship and an independent mindset. And so we have to continue to work on it. I speak at historically Black colleges all the time, and I'm with the president sitting there. This is what I say, right? I mean, often they're not too happy.
Right. I'm sure they're more shocked. Like, I thought, what, yeah.
Yeah, but when they are quiet, the entire audience is standing up applauding. So what does the entire student body or audience know that we don't know? So I'm not saying that we completely change the curriculum, mindset, and emphasis of public higher education, specifically in the Black college community. I am saying that we need to morph into and begin thinking about and changing our curriculum so there's at least a choice, at least a campaign.
Yes, at least.
Within the historically Black college community to get more brothers and sisters to think outside of the job box and then have a curriculum that's ready for them to accommodate that change in thinking.
Dr. George C. Fraser, thank you so much. Thank you for taking my call. Thank you for always being available. Thank you for being my mentor. Thank you for doing all what you do. And if I'm working on being my voice, the voice, and a voice in the wilderness, as long as you're being that voice too, because we can, but we definitely don't have enough voices. It's 1%, waking to
Amen.
4%.
Amen.
So we'll keep waking to 4%. So maybe we can get to the 10% that is pimping the 42 million.
There you go.
Holy buckets.
Love you. Appreciate you.
Love you, man. Thank you so
Hey,
much.
all
Have a
right,
good
thank
night.
you. All right now.